Today is May 15th, and today's quote is entitled, I Am Right. The human mind tends to find evidence to prove itself right, not find evidence to prove what is right. I wouldn't say not always do we not try to prove what is right, but mostly we're trying to prove ourselves right. And what I mean in this quote is there's this tendency to be more attached to being right than understanding what is right. That's where the false ego comes. And often there's a tendency in being right to prove others wrong, because that's part of being right, is to prove someone wrong. And the I think the problem for us as devotees is because we have shastras giving truth, and often we're used to convincing people of that truth. But then that mood can create a problem in personal dealings, because we're always used to giving truth and being right, and if someone disagrees with us, that could be difficult to our false ego. Maybe you have that experience. And sometimes someone may disagree with us, but what they're saying is right, and we don't accept it. We can't see it objectively because we're more attached to being right than understanding what is right, which is unfortunate and is a function of the false ego. And false ego, of course, wants to think, I'm right, I'm smart, I'm intelligent, I understand things, I see through all the clouds of the situation, I know what's right, and I don't like being told what's wrong. So that's a very difficult position to be in if you want to have good relationships. And in Krishna consciousness, we need good relationships. We need to have close relationships. And it's very difficult to have close relationships if we are always trying to prove ourselves right. And another problem, I think I've spoken about this before, is our inability to hear another person's perspective or point of view. Because if we're obsessed with proving our point, then we pretty much close ourselves off to hearing anyone else. Now, you might say, well, why hear them if they're wrong? Okay. Maybe out of etiquette you can hear them, but what if they're not wrong and you just think they're wrong and you're not hearing them? That becomes a problem. So devotees, especially Brahmins, are broad-minded, so they're willing to hear, open up and listen. So sometimes it's very difficult to listen if we want to prove ourselves right, and we won't grow that way. We won't be able to see things from a broader perspective, and especially if we're counselors or teachers, we need to be broad-minded. And sometimes Prabhupada said, Mahatma means broad-minded. So he's like, I can listen to, I can understand various points of views, I can consider them without, in a detached way, without feeling threatened, my ego feeling threatened. I can consider ideas which previously I've disagreed with, or ideas that I don't fully understand, but I can consider them. So I think that's important in relationships, and also in teams and administration, to be able to hear other perspectives. And often I talk to devotees about what I think is the essence of devotee care, which is to be able to listen to another devotee in confidence. And part of listening means that sometimes a devotee will share something which is a little difficult for us to hear, but we hear it without judging them. And sometimes that can be very difficult because we might disagree with them. But as a service, we allow them to speak. What's in their heart, what's on their mind. And granted, it can be difficult, especially because we tend to live within our minds in a universe of right and wrong. And therefore we can be quite judgmental. But it's important, I believe, for us to learn the art of being able to listen to another person, even if we disagree, to offer them the facility to be able to speak to us. And for those of us who are more black and white, right and wrong, it can be very difficult to do that. But many devotees need to express themselves, even if what they're expressing is not entirely true. Sometimes they need to express it in order to clarify it, in order to see that they haven't understood something clearly. And you, listening to them, are a facilitator in helping them become clear. So, that's why always wanting to be right and judgmental and telling people they're wrong, it's another reason it becomes a problem, because we won't be good listeners. And sometimes the best service we can do for another devotee is just listen. They just need to speak. So it's something to consider. Hare Krishna.